Today we're going to be doing a beginner's yoga class. So if you're new to yoga, this is the perfect place to start. Or if you've done yoga in the past and you just want a way to sort of come back into your practice, this is also a great place to be. I'll still be teaching this in a Vinyasa style. So Vinyasa just means sort of the transition between postures or between poses in yoga. So what you'll often find in Vinyasa is you're connecting movement to breath. So the yoga teacher might say, inhale, expand through your heart, and then exhale, fold. And you're kind of taking these movements with your body and aligning them with your breath. So I'll be bringing a little bit of that into class today, but we'll still be taking it nice and slow and gentle. But yeah, let's get started. So just come into a comfortable seat on your mat and just close down your eyes. Just let your hands fall on your knees or in your lap. And I want you to think about lengthening up through your spine. So almost feel like you're trying to stack your shoulders and your head over your hips. And just imagine one line of energy coming up through your sit bone, along your spine, through your neck, then up through the crown of your head. Then we're just going to begin with 3 deep breaths. Inhale through the nose. Open the mouth and exhale. Inhale through the nose. Open the mouth and exhale. One more like that. Inhale through the nose. And open the mouth and exhale. And just take a moment here to settle into this pose. Just focusing in on your breath. And when you're ready, I just want you to gently blink your eyes open, keeping the gaze soft. We're going to bring the right hand down onto the ground next to the right hip. And I just want you to inhale and reach the left arm up and over. You're going to be bending into that right elbow. You should just be feeling a nice little stretch at the left-hand side of your body. Just gently making your way back through center. We're going to plant the left hand down on the ground next to the left hip. Then we're going to inhale, reach that right arm up and over, bending into that left elbow. And coming back through center. I want you to take your left hand to your right knee. Then we're going to twist to the right. First, we're going to inhale, lengthen through the spine, and on the exhale, twist to the right. And coming back through center, we're going to take the right hand to the left knee, placing the left hand down on the ground next to the left hip. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, twisting to the left. Coming back through center, just bringing both hands out in front of you. And I just want you to fold over your legs, releasing your head and neck towards the ground for a gentle fold here. Maybe shaking your head no from side to side, and then nodding yes, just to release through the neck. And then gently walking your hands back up to meet your legs. We're going to come onto our knees here. We're going to take our feet together, but our knees wide. And we're just going to sink the hips down and back into those feet. And then walk the hands forward, coming down into a child's pose here. So your hips are sinking back onto your heels. Your forehead is on the ground. You've walked your hands out in front of you, and you're just letting your body sink into the mat or to the ground beneath you. taking a couple more breaths here. And then on your next inhale, we're going to make our way to tabletop. So in tabletop, we're just going to have the hips stacked over the knees. The knees are hip width apart. The hands are palms down underneath your shoulders, and your toes are untucked, so the tops of your feet are down on the ground. Then on the inhale, I want you to think about arching through your back. So you're lifting your chest and your sternum towards the front of your mat, lifting the head. And on the exhale, rounding through that spine, dropping the chin to your chest and really pushing the ground away through those hands. So on the inhale, arching through the spine, pushing the chest and sternum forward. And on the exhale, rounding through the spine, really pushing that ground away, bringing the chin towards your chest. And just take a couple more like this, arching on the inhale. And then rounding on the exhale. This is a nice way to warm up through the spine, especially if you've been sitting down all day, or even after you get out of bed. And after your next exhale, just coming back through tabletop, so neutral spine here. I want you to tuck the toes under, really ground down through those hands. And we're just going to lift the knees off the ground. And then you're going to think about shifting the hips up and back. So you're making an inverted V here on your mat. So this will probably feel a little bit tight and a little bit difficult, especially if this is your first down dog. So really bend through those knees, really ground down through those hands. Now I want you to think about rotating the eye of your elbow, so the inner part of your arm forward. So your elbows are rotating back, but your inner elbows are rotating forward. Really release through the neck, bending through those knees. And then just gently walking your feet up to meet your hands. You can bend through your knees here. Then bringing your feet hip width distance apart. Releasing your neck, bending through your knees. And then just taking opposite hands around opposite elbows. And just sway gently from side to side. And then releasing your hands from your elbows, letting them touch the ground. And then I just want you to roll up really slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, starting from your lower back, your mid back, your upper back, and then your shoulders, drawing them down and back. Letting your hands rest up from your sides. Bring your head up through center, really grounding down through all corners of your feet. Just taking a couple of breaths here. This is mountain pose or Tadasana. Then on your next inhale, I want you to reach your arms out, up and wide, out beside you, all the way up to the sky. Bring your hands together in a prayer position. And then exhale, bring that prayer down in front of your chest, and then just folding at the hips, hinging through the hips, bending through the knees, taking your hands down to the ground, releasing through the neck. And on the inhale, we're going to bring the hands to the shins. We're just going to lengthen through the spine, bring the chest and sternum away from the thighs. Then exhale, releasing the hands towards the ground, still bending through those knees, releasing the neck. We're going to plant the hands down onto the ground. We're going to step the feet back. So we're in a plank here. Then we're going to lower the knees down, untuck the toes, and then just bending through the elbows, keeping the elbows by your sides. We're just going to lower gently down onto the mat, forehead down. Making sure the hands are under the shoulders. You're really grounding down through the tops of those feet. And I want you to lift your chest, head and neck off the ground, drawing the shoulder blades together down your back for a little cobra pose here. Then exhale, lowering back down. Just going to do that twice more. Inhaling the chest and neck and head off the ground, drawing those elbows back beside you. Then exhale, lowering back down. One more. Inhale, cobra pose, drawing those shoulder blades back down your back. And then exhale, lowering back down. I just want you to tuck the toes under and make your way back onto your hands and knees. And then just shifting the hips back to reach the heels for your child's pose here. Just taking a couple of breaths. And then making your way back through tabletop, hands are under the shoulders, knees under the hips, tucking your toes under, lifting the knees off the ground, and then shifting your hips up and back, so we're back in that downward facing dog here, that inverted V shape, really grounding down through those hands. And then just walking your feet again up to meet your hands, the top of your mat, feet are hip distance apart, bending through those knees, hands at opposite elbows for your ragdoll here, shaking your head from side to side. And releasing the hands down to the ground. And then rolling up really gently, vertebrae by vertebrae, back into your mountain pose, your Tadasana. Hands by your sides, grounding down through your feet. Your head is stacked over your shoulders and your hips. And we're going to take that sun salutation again. So then inhale the arms wide and out, up beside you, bringing the hands together in a prayer above your head. Maybe taking your glance up towards those hands. And on the exhale, bring your hands through center, keeping that prayer position, and then hinging at the hips, bending through the knees, and releasing the hands down to the ground, releasing through the neck. Inhale, halfway lift. We're bringing the hands to the shins, lengthening through the spine. And then exhale, forward fold, bringing those hands down to the ground, still bending through those knees, releasing through the neck. Inhale, we're gonna plant the hands down on the ground. We're gonna step those legs back to plank pose, lowering the knees down. And then making sure your elbows are wrapped in so that the eye of your elbow is facing forward. We're just gonna lower down all the way down onto our bellies, keeping our elbows tucked beside us. Bring the tops of your feet down into the mat. Hands are underneath the shoulders. Elbows are still drawn back. We're going to inhale up into a little cobra pose here, drawing those shoulder blades together, the chest and head off the ground. Then exhale, lower back down. 2 more like that. Inhale, cobra pose, lifting the chest and head off the ground. Exhale, lower back down. Last one. Inhaling up, keeping those elbows back behind you. Exhale, lowering back down. We're going to tuck the toes under and just make our way back to our tabletop, and then shifting the hips back to the heels into our child's pose here. And just 2 breaths here. And then making your way back to your tabletop, grounding down through those hands, tuck the toes under, lift the knees off the mat, and then shift the hips up and back for your downward facing dog. Now I want you to ground down through that left foot, and I want you to inhale the right leg up and back behind you. And your knee can be bent here, just making sure you're grounding down through both hands and that left foot. And on the exhale, I just want you to bring that knee in towards your nose, and then just gently bring it down onto your mat between your hands, lowering the back knee down onto the ground. And then inhaling your arms high to the sky. So you're in your low lunge here. You probably feel this quite intense up the left hip flexor. So just breathing through it. Your arms are high, your toes are untucked, so the top of your left foot is on the ground. Your front knee is stacked over that front ankle. So you don't want to be pushing that knee too far forward, or you don't want to be back here. The sweet spot is right here. And then just taking a few breaths here. And on your next inhale, bring your hands together in a prayer position in front of your heart. And on the exhale, we're twisting to the right. And then just hooking that left tricep over the right thigh. So you're still in your prayer position here. That back knee is still on the ground. And then just take your glance up over your right shoulder. If you're finding it hard to find your balance here, you can just bring that left hand down on the ground. Keep that right hand on your thigh, and then just taking your twist this way. Or maybe taking that right hand to the sky. Just doing whatever feels right for your body in this moment. One more breath. And inhale, coming back through center. Planting the hands down on the ground outside that right foot. And then I just want you to shift your hips back and just straightening through that front leg as much as you can. So if you shift your hips back and your knee, that front leg is still a little bit bent, that's totally fine. Just moving into a position that feels right for you. You should feel this stretch up the right hamstring. I just want you to play with flexing your toes here, flexing them back towards your face. And gently rocking the weight back into that front foot, planting those hands down on the ground. We're going to tuck the back toes under of that left foot, lifting the left knee off the ground. And then we're just going to step that right foot back to meet the left. I'm going to bring the knees down to the mat. We're going to bend through those elbows, lowering all the way down to the ground. And then we're going to go through our cobra pose here. So tops of the feet are pushing down into the mat. Hands are underneath the shoulders, drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Inhaling up to your cobra pose, chest and sternum off the ground. And exhale, lowering back down. Inhale, tuck the toes under, making your way back to your tabletop pose. So hands are under shoulders, knees are under hips. Then shifting the hips back into your child's pose. Your hips are sinking onto your heels, your hands are walking forward, your forehead is on the mat. And then inhaling to your tabletop pose here. I'm going to tuck the toes under, lift the knees off the mat, and then shift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. We're going to ground down through that right foot in both hands. Inhale that left foot off the ground. And then exhale, bring the knee towards your nose. And then just step it wherever you can on your mat, lowering that back knee down onto the ground. And once you find your balance, you're going to inhale up into your low lunge. So once again, we want to think about having this front knee stacked over that front ankle. So not too far forward, not too far back. The arms are reaching long. The back toes are untucked. And you should be feeling a nice stretch up that right hip flexor. And inhale, bringing your hands to your chest in a prayer position. And on the exhale, we're twisting to the left, hooking this right tricep over this left thigh. Keeping our hands together in a prayer. Maybe taking the gaze up and over that left shoulder. And if you find this hard to keep your balance here, just bring this right hand down to the ground, keeping your left hand on your thigh, and then twisting to the left. And then once you find your balance here, maybe you might take that left hand to the sky. So once you find the twist that feels right for you, just taking a couple of breaths here. And gently coming back through center, taking your hands to the ground outside, on either side of that left foot, and then just shifting your hips back, straightening through that front leg. And once again, you might find that you still have a bend in this front leg. That's totally fine. You still feel that stretch up the left hamstring. And then play with flexing your toes back towards your face. Really give you a nice, deeper stretch. And bending through that front knee, shifting the weight back into that front foot, planting those hands down on the ground. I want you to tuck the back toes under. So tuck the toes under of your right foot. Lift that right knee off the ground. Ground down through those hands. And then just step that left foot back to meet the right. So you're in your plank here. Lowering the knees down to the ground. And then bending through the elbows, lowering yourself all the way down onto your mat. Making sure those back toes are untucked, tops of the feet are in the ground, hands are under the shoulders, and inhale your way up into cobra pose, lifting that chest and neck and sternum off the ground. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, tuck the toes under, making your way up into your tabletop pose, hands are shoulder width apart, knees are hip width apart, and then sinking the hips back into your heels for your child's pose here. And on your next inhale, making your way up into your tabletop pose, bring those shoulders over the hands, tuck the toes under, lift the knees, and exhale the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Then I just want you to gently walk your your feet up to meet your hands. And then just lowering down to a seat and coming down onto your back. So we're just gonna do two little back bends here. So I want you to bend through your knees and walk your heels up as close to your butt as you can get them. And then I want you to bring your arms down beside your body, really grounding down through your hands so your palms are flat on the mat. So making sure your feet are hip distance apart, your knees are bent, your palms are resting flat on the ground beside you. And then I want you to tuck your tailbone under. So think about rolling your lower back into the ground. And then we're just gonna gently lift vertebrae by vertebrae off the ground, starting from the lower back, the mid back, the upper back, really grounding down through those feet and those hands. And just taking a couple of breaths here. Lifting a little more through those hips. And exhale, lowering back down. Just vertebrae by vertebrae, starting from the top of your back, your mid back, your lower back, and then your hips. I'm going to just take another one like that. So really grounding down through those hands, tucking that tailbone under so you're rolling your lower back into the ground. It's almost like you're sucking your belly button down. And then we're just going to lift the hips off the ground, the lower back off the ground, the mid back off the ground, the upper back off the ground. And exhale, lowering down vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way down so your hips meet the ground. And I want you to take your feet as wide as your mat, and then just let your knees knock together in the middle of your mat. Just releasing through the lower back here. And maybe you just windscreen wiper your knees from side to side. And bring your feet back to hip width apart, keeping the knees bent here. We're going to lift the right foot off the ground, and we're going to cross the right ankle over the left thigh here. So it's like a little figure four. And if this is already quite intense for you in your glutes and your hip, you can stay here. If you want to make this a little deeper, you can lift your head and chest off the ground, lift that left foot off the ground, reach through with those hands to grab behind the left thigh, and then just gently bring your head and neck back onto the ground. And just releasing those hands if you took them behind your thigh, releasing that left foot to the ground, and releasing the right foot to the ground. And we're going to cross the left ankle over the right thigh. And once again, you can choose to stay here. Or if you want to make this a little deeper, you're going to lift the right foot off the ground and draw the right knee towards you. Lifting the head and neck off the ground, reaching those hands to wrap around the back of the right thigh, and then releasing the head and neck back down to the mat. And releasing your thigh with your hands and releasing that right foot to the ground, taking that left foot to the ground. Now we're going to straighten through that left leg and then bring the right knee to the chest. So just wrapping your hands around the right shin, drawing that right knee towards your chest. And then using your left hand, I just want you to guide that right knee over towards your left for a gentle twist here. And then once you're there, just reaching that right arm out to a T beside you, maybe taking your gaze over that right arm. And bring your head back through center, and then bringing your right knee back through center, giving it a little hug, squeezing it into your chest, and then releasing it long on your mat. We're going to bend through that left knee, bring our hands around that left shin, just drawing that knee towards our chest. And then releasing that left arm out to a T, and then using the right hand to guide that left knee up and over to the right for a twist on the other side. Maybe you'll take your gaze out over that left arm. And bringing that gaze back through center. Rocking that knee back to center. Using both your hands, just giving it a little squeeze into your chest. And then I want you to bring your right knee to your chest as well. And then I want you to grab your ankles or your feet, the sides of your feet, whatever is available for you. You might be grabbing your shins here. And then we're bending through the knees and we're drawing the knees down towards the ground, down towards our armpits into happy baby pose here. This is a little bit of an inner thigh stretch. So if it's too intense, just bringing your hands down towards the shins will give you a little less of a stretch and might make it more available for you. And when you're ready, just releasing your feet or your shins, wrapping your hands around your knees, drawing your forehead towards your knees, squeezing everything in for one deep inhale. And exhale, releasing down long on your mat. So your feet are reaching long, your ankles are just splaying out to the sides, your arms are just resting down beside your body. Make any movements here to get yourself comfortable as we take Shavasana for just a few minutes. And I'll call you out when it's time. Gently bring some awareness back into your body. Noticing your breath as you inhale and exhale. Bring some movement to your fingers and your toes. Circling your wrists and your ankles. And you can stay here, or if you're ready, just bring the soles of your feet down to the ground, bending through your knees, keeping your eyes closed. And then just rolling onto your right side here. Maybe using your left arm or your right arm as a little pillow. And just pushing yourself up into a comfortable seat. Keeping those eyes closed down, letting your hands rest in your lap. Take a deep breath in here through the nose. Then open the mouth and sigh it out. One more like that. Inhale through the nose. Then open the mouth and sigh it out. Bringing your hands together in front of your heart to your prayer position. I honor the space inside you in which the entire universe dwells. It is a place of peace and love and truth and happiness. And when you're in that place in you, and I'm in that place in me, we are one. Namaste.